Welcome back, everyone. Aces NFL Show Week 2 preview coming your way. Sip, welcome back to the studio. How are you, brother? And I love that jersey.
It?
The Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Were they flying with offense?
Big week one. I was a bit nervous early, but they got going eventually and they got home, so that was exciting.
They got home like Big Unk last night. Shannon Sharp was going to town. I don't know who went to town more, Saquon Barkley or Big Unk. Hey, what about that? We've just rolled in here.
You should actually put that on a vote, I reckon, and see what we get. Old Shannon Sharp.
Who went harder, Saquon Barkley or Shannon Sharp?
I reckon Sharpie went hard there. I reckon Sharpie went pretty darn hard.
Oh, that was big. As we were rolling in, I just saw the apology from the big man. Mate, plenty to talk about. It was a great start week one. I must say, everything we said, I listened back to it and had I always have a good laugh because you say some outrageous stuff. But a lot of the stuff we said, we left a lot of meat on the bone.
I think so.
I mean, you talk about our best bets. We'll start here because we're going to review our best bets every week. And going 4 from 6, I lost with the Bengals and you lost with Devontae Smith. But
I know. The Bengals you thought were an absolute shoo-in
probably
too.
The shortest leg as well, the multi.
Yep.
And they've knocked me out of the Survivor League. Can you believe it? 1 week into the Survivor League, I was that excited about that. And I'm out with about 80 people. There's only 100 left.
I know. Out of what, 200? There's 100.
We had 200 in there, and half of the group's gone.
We're in week 2, everybody.
Yeah, how many weeks?
That's your fault.
It is. Probably is. I should have went Seattle. I don't know. I think because you went Seattle in best bets.
Yeah, no,
I thought, I've got to go Bengals and put my money where my mouth is. But Joe Burrow.
Well, they were the highest odds for the whole week, weren't they? Like the Patriots were well and truly outside, particularly when the Bengals are at home. It's like... But yeah, disappointing. Devontae Smith let me down though. He anytime touchdown let me down a little bit. But he had a solid game. He's had a solid game, but I just needed him in the end zone.
Probably should have went Saquon. Looking back, he was always getting fed in game one.
Saquon this, Saquon that, all the rest.
We've been big on him. But yeah, there you go. So best bets are off to a reasonably fly. If you had to taken them all individually, you're getting 4 from 6, and the odds were all juicy. We'll get that up for the end of the podcast today. We're going to have our best bets. We've spent a lot of time on them this week. But like we said, if you teased a few of our ones, I think you said Mixon. He went for 150. His line was 50.
Talk about getting fed. I mean, he was like, 25 carries or something, 150 yards, touchdown. Like he was
Jameson
well
Williams.
and truly in cruise
Jameson
control.
Williams on the deep ball. What do you think I was doing? I spilled me coffee in the lecture theatre.
Sending me messages. Here we go. I told you. Rightio, mate. It's week 1.
That's what happens when you watch the tape.
It's good. It's
Alan
good
Lazard as well. I watched the tape at training. I watched every snap. A jet drive. It actually pays off watching on YouTube. Righto, week 1 talking points. Guys, the way we're going to format this is we're going to fly through week 1 because obviously it's been a while ago. We're ready to talk about week 2. But quick points. Imagine Saquon's mind right now. How old are you thinking?
Oh, man, he's on top of the world right now.
Yep.
He's going, how good's this? I'm getting fed. Like, I'm actually scoring touchdowns. Like, how good's this? So he had a big week, 24 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Add one that he gets receiving on the end of 1-2 from old Jalen there, and he's had a good day. So
and he'll be watching the Giants.
Welcome to the Eagles, mate. Yeah. And he's watching the Giants, and they are stinking.
Oh, they are too. Richardson might be the real deal.
He did some good things and did some shaky things, but special talent, isn't he? Like he's
that 60-yard bomb. That's not easy off the back foot.
Off the back foot. Whew,
60-yard bomb.
That's pretty nice. Like, and that was flat too. Like, I don't think there was much loop to it. He got it down there. So he's got a cannon of an arm, and they'll only get better.
Are the Bengals cooked early?
Nah, I wouldn't say cooked early. I think they just need to kind of straighten themselves out a little bit. But that's one that you expect to win, and you don't quite get done. You'd want to kind of pick it up pretty quickly, especially when you're playing the Chiefs this week.
Does Deshaun Watson need an extra massage pre-game?
Oh, he just keeps getting himself in shit, doesn't he?
He's in trouble.
Like, another allegation's come out this week for him. Like, not a massage this time, but just genuinely just going, like, I own you type thing. At
quarterback, do you think this is just killing him? Because he looks like a shell of a QB.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do we saw?
He's got the weapons too. Like, he's got
everything.
He's got everything. O-line, receivers to get it to. Like, he's got it. He's got it there in front of him.
Should they get rid of him and put the next Jameis in?
They own him too much money, mate.
I know, but like they need to win their next.
Well, maybe they've got the salary cap to maybe just do it as a bit of dead cap space. But I mean, yeah, he's lost the mojo. He has genuinely lost the mojo in every single way.
Tight end week 1 equals Puch.
Yeah.
Is that normal though? You played the game. Do you think that? Nah, that's weird.
That is weird. Yeah,
Nick
I mean,
Bride.
normally one or two are going
Mark
off. Like
Andrews.
Andrews is normally going. Kelsey's normally having a big one. Like no one got
Kincaid,
going.
none of them.
None.
All the first four in fantasy, pretty much
None.
non-existent.
Yeah, like none of them.
J.K. Dobbins versus Gus Edwards. Are you concerned if you're a Gus Edwards fantasy owner?
A little bit.
Panthers and Young at QB are so bad.
So's their O-line.
Do you blame the O-line or the quarterback play?
Both.
Chicago defense and special teams, a huge tick.
Yes, but who did they play?
The Titans.
Questionable. But they, in saying that, you've still got to go out there and get the job done. Well done. You were down 17-0, I think, and you've come back and won. Good work.
Few big injuries. Puka, Nakua,
Yeah.
Ferguson from the Dallas Cowboys at tight end, but Jordan Love was the big one who looks okay. I've got him in fantasy, which hurt, and he's not on IR, so I've got him sitting on my bench, taking up that one of the four spots, which hurts, and Njoku, and a few others as well. I'm only reading out the ones here.
McCaffrey, obviously the other one too, not getting out there, which is a bit of a surprise, and we still don't know
Hayden
whether
Crozier
he's actually
absolutely bleeding.
I know. Pick one curse again.
And anyone listening to the pod, what did the old trainer? I'm not going to pump myself up, but I might. What did I tell you 8 weeks ago? What have I told you about these niggly calves and Achilles?
They get you.
And it's a load management play. They don't care about this.
And he sounds like he could be a few weeks away. Like
why would you rush him when Mason's doing that?
Very, very true as well. You may as well get him 100% healthy and right, but yeah.
Tyreek Hill and the cops drama. That is outrageous.
Yeah.
You've lived in America, man. Do you ever not? Let me reframe this question. Did you feel safe?
Oh, debatable.
And even as an NFL player, this
debatable.
Could happen?
I don't think they really care too much, to be honest. It's pretty.
Have you ever been
It's
pulled
pretty
over?
daunting. I haven't been. No. Definitely tried to be letter of the law type stuff, but they can be pretty intimidating. There's no doubt about it.
It's crazy. Bo Nix ain't it. You called it. 2 picks, horrific offense.
Look, I called it. You were talking about your early calls. I gave my early call and it came through. He's just a young fella. He'll have some work to do. Their offense isn't much chop and they'll struggle.
Cortland Sutton had 12 targets. Everyone else got about 2. So he has his man.
And he's only thrown for about 130 yards or something as well in that. So there you go.
And my last point was Jets are fine. Just stop the run.
Yeah, I'd say so. They just got to get a game going. You know, San Francisco. Hey, the reality is San Francisco and San Francisco, extremely hard to beat. San Francisco on the road, extremely hard to beat. Like they're a good team.
We tipped the Jets.
Well, you tipped the Jets.
I did. I did. I still thought they could win that if they just stopped the run early.
And especially with McCaffrey being out, obviously, tail got up a little more, but they're a well-oiled machine, and San Fran will be right up there again.
Love it. Some fun facts from week 1. NFL QBs threw for 188.3 yards per game in week 1. Yep. That is the fewest since 2007.
Yep. A lot of guys, you can name, I think almost half the quarterbacks in the league had threw under that. And to go along with it, like poor games as well. Like not just that there wasn't much passing, like picks, you name it. So, tough sledding.
Tom Brady did come out and say, I don't think there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the league at the moment.
And I probably would agree. Based off that, I mean, you're paying a guy $40 million a year to throw pick after pick. He's had more pick sixes than touchdown passes. I'm speaking of Daniel Jones.
I thought you were talking about Deshaun Watson.
No, but he's close too.
It's pathetic, isn't it?
Oh,
I feel sorry for him, man. I know you hate the Giants. Do you feel sorry for him?
No.
Do you actually don't feel sorry when he's walking out and getting booed?
No.
It's a lot of money. I would almost feel like you should give a little bit back if you're playing that bad.
Jeez, that's a big, big call. But you've been bad for a long, like you've had one.
How do they sign
in saying that
players?
you had one okay year where you got your team to the playoffs with a new system that people are trying to figure out. Now that they figured it out, you're gone. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
So in 2021, QBs threw 61 TDs in week 1. And in 2024, the QBs threw only 35.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
So our offense, a lot of people out there with fantasy, you're wondering why your scores might not be as high as they normally are. The reality is we didn't get much offense and a lot of drop balls. Ayuk, I know they were getting into him. That's what happens when you don't go to practice. Mm-hmm. You don't get any chemistry. Your hands aren't as good.
With, Caleb, obviously, Caleb Williams with, 4 for 11 for Keenan Allen. Yeah. So
He got a lot of targets, actually.
A lot of targets, but you got to hit him.
The last one I had fun facts for all of you Jets fans, but more so Breece Hall fans, which is a really positive thing considering they are going to have a good positive script this week. Breece Hall carries inside the 5-yard line. In 2023, can you believe he only had one attempt?
One attempt all year last year.
Yep.
That's how you show how the offense was going there last year.
And he had one. He's already had one this year, and they didn't even play that well. So Breece Hall owners and fantasy, especially fantasy owners and just Jets lovers, and anyone that has a little play, just think Breece Hall inside the 5. He's probably going to score a touchdown. So just keep your eyes on that one. I've got another little segment here before we get into week 2 preview and our primetime games we're going to highlight, which is a huge one this week with Miami hosting the Bills. But the Stewie Jews, the TDs, I want to get a little segment going every week. The Stewie Jews, and I've got a couple. Let me know if you've got any. But it's I'll start him off. Starvin' Marvin Harrison Jr. He was out goal side. He was out. He had no one within 40 yards. And he had a late TD opportunity. And I've already seen Kyler Murray say, yep, it's not my job to call the plays.
How about that?
Well, how about the offensive coordinator calls the plays? Only got one wide receiver and he's not calling his name.
And he didn't give it to the tight end either. So what are you doing?
I think this week will be different. They're playing the Rams. We just saw what Jamison Williams did. I would expect a starving Marvin Harrison Jr. to get a little TD attempt or two. But the thing that's positive as well, he was on the field. I think he ran a lot of routes and he had a tough day at the office.
He did.
He was one. And then Adonai Mitchell, I think that's how you say his name, but the wide receiver, rookie wide receiver at the Colts, he was out twice. And I just saw on the charts, fantasy points, it's a great little thing there if you want to follow them on Instagram. But they've got a lot of, intelligent, nerdy kind of operators that go through the stats, which we love. And he had the most separation out of any wide receiver during the week, 1. And Mitchell was out through the bubble and got through coverage twice on his own. And Richardson just overthrew it.
Yeah.
And we're talking house calls, like 60, 70 yards.
A bit of a respect thing from the opposition, just knowing to pay close attention to it going
Alec
forward.
Pierce, and you've got a couple others in there as well. Honestly, Jonathan Taylor, they're stuck in the box. He's the one I don't reckon they know how to handle just yet. So just keep your eyes on him. I would not be surprised if he gets a cheeky tutty this week or an opportunity. Did you have anyone?
My one was probably Amon St. Brown.
Yep.
I mean, he got nowhere near it, and I think he's definitely a bit of Stewie Jew about him this week. Tampa Bay, secondary a bit questionable. I expect him to go out there and absolutely fire, and if he's not getting 100, I don't know what's going on there.
That might be a little sneak preview to the best bets later on. Righto, time for week 2 preview. Thanks to everyone that's still tuning in with us. We love all your support. Please send this podcast to all your NFL friends. Australia, we're trying to give an Australian voice to this amazing sport in America. It's the best sport in the world. Righto, week 2 preview. Let's kick it off with our prime time matchup. And to be honest, I went through the stats of this one heavily, and I couldn't believe what I saw.
Very, very one-sided over a long period of time, and Buffalo have been good for a while now. Miami's kind of making progress, but the Bills have got the wood over them, don't they? What is it, 11 of the last 13?
I sent you a screenshot.
They've been close, couple of little blowouts. They've been close, but the Bills just like getting it done against the Dolphins.
Oh, do they ever? Yeah. What was the screenshot that I sent you?
It was 11 of the last 13 or something like
11 of the last 12, I think.
11 of the last 12. Yeah.
It's crazy numbers. I've got them up right here. The last 2 times, it was 21-14, the Bills' favour. And then the game before that was 20-48. The game before that, 31-34, and then 29-32.
Yeah.
So
the blowout game was when Miami had their tails up because they had dropped 70 or something against Denver. They dropped 70 points against them, tails are up, and the Bills just went in and just absolutely dominated them. It was actually quite funny to watch.
We like to spend a little bit more time on prime time, and we'll stay here. And I tried to get stats to back up my thoughts on this for a Bills player.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really find it. Kincaid, he had one good game against them, 2.
Well, it's one person.
Yeah, I know. But I just thought Kincaid, he's such a pivotal part of that offense. But last week, non-existent. And I thought
Knox is still getting his fair share out there too. So
Coleman had the most targets. It was a weird game. The Bills were down. Josh Allen put him on his back, really. Like some of his rushing attempts and touchdowns were amazing.
Yeah. Shakir had a bit of in the end or something like that.
Shakir was good.
Shakir.
I thought he was good. And he's had a big game before.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that I thought Miami can run all over them because that's what Connor did early. But now I'm hearing that Mostert's out with a chest, A-Chain game time decision. Don't really know who's starting at running back. If it's Wilson, I still think he's a good running back.
Wilson's a good running back still. I think he can get it done, but yeah.
And the one thing I noticed was Josh Allen has thrown a lot of yards against them, but it's a different defense. We know Ramsey and all that's there now. So I honestly think my best bet for this game is Kincaid in the middle of the field. Because I reckon their wide receivers are going to have a nightmare. You're talking about great cornerbacks on young. Like Coleman's not going to know what to do on Ramsey, you would think, unless he's a superstar. So I'm taking out the wide receivers and I'm saying Josh Allen is throwing that ball to the slot receiver or Kincaid and Knox, but mainly Kincaid. So that's my prop bet. And I'm also leaning for Miami. I think Miami will win.
I think Miami will win too. I think the Buffalo team is just totally different to what it's looked like in the last 2 or 3 years, particularly on defense as well. Like they've lost a lot of weapons in there that are kind of their soldiers there to be able to really get it done. And I just think Miami have too many weapons to be able to, really easily, get the job done basically. So I think Tyreek's going to have a bit of a field day, which is obviously, I think it's probably a given. But, guys like even Jalen Waddle and that, you'll probably see him burst out a little more too, because I just don't think that Buffalo's defense is as strong as what it used to be. They'll be relying on Josh a lot to get it going. Their game last week, 34-28, they had to kind of start getting it going a little bit, because they were down. And I expect that to happen a bit more. Like, I don't know if you're going to see many 21-14 games as what you've seen previously. I think that they're going to be quite high scoring, but Dolphins get it done for me, I think, as well. Interesting to see what the running back situation is going to be like, but I think Jalen Waddle's going to be able to get off the chain a bit here too. They'll obviously try and take care of Tyreek, but they've got too many weapons and Waddle will get off, I reckon.
I reckon they can handle Tyreek this time. I remember last time, was it him that got injured and he come on late and he still went for 100? I think he went for about 80 yards or something.
I think he got injured early and still got his fair share of the ball and that.
They're putting him everywhere.
They'll do it as best they possibly can. I still think he has a big day, but Waddle's going to be...
Funny, I've got this random feeling, but I've got a random feeling that Jonnu Smith does something. With the running backs out, Tyreek Hill running around like a lunatic, just sucking up, just everyone double team, and then Jonnu Smith, he hasn't really done anything yet.
No.
I just think someone's going to have to, someone outside of Waddle and Hill maybe, but sometimes it's a simple game.
Yeah, I just think just give it to your real weapons and let them go.
It's going to be exciting though.
Yeah, I mean... It's a great matchup. Always these division rival games are always a little bit bigger and, there's a little bit more to it for sure. And I expect Miami to get it done. I'm assuming it's going to be nice and warm for them again. So at
night, it's a little bit cooler.
Still nice and warm though, old Miami there at night time.
Oh yeah, I just can't wait to watch. That's a great prime time game.
That is a great matchup. Love it.
You will not be getting me off the couch from 10 till 1 or whatever it is. Right, let's move through, mate. Let's move through to the next few games because it's an exciting week on the slate, and this will kick us off. But unfortunately, we do not have a Saturday game, but we go to Monday morning and we kick it off with the Saints at the Cowboys. The Saints were impressive, but they played no one. And the Cowboys, they were really impressive.
Yes.
It's probably their defense that impressed me the most. And Dak Prescott was clean. And to be honest, you could say that he would be right up there for the MVP category because I reckon he was top 3 last year maybe. And they will need him to do MVP-like things to get him to, they need to get to an NFC championship game, you'd think.
They do.
But I'm liking what I'm seeing. And, the Saints' defense is good, though, as well.
Yeah, they were strong. They were very, very strong. I mean, they played a complete game in the first half. Like, their offense got the ball going down the field. They were scoring. Defense was holding the Browns up. And I think that they're going to be too good. The Saints, as you said, they didn't have much of an opposition. They're up 37-0. The game was completely over. I mean, what do you do?
Bryce Young, man. I took 200 yards.
I still can't believe you did that. I cannot believe that.
He just thought you watch, he'll go for 200 this week.
Oh, well, he probably will.
I won't be going near him.
They need to.
It was horrific.
But no, I think the Cowboys at home are going to be too good for him. Defense looks rock solid under Mike Zimmer. And I expect the offense to have to be out there maybe a little bit longer to get it done as well. So CD didn't have to do much. Dak didn't have to do too much, particularly second half. But I really think they kind of continue with their firepower and get it done. Yeah, well said. And it was interesting. Zeke got the touchdown, and he was juicy odds as well. You think Zeke will be smashing the ball in near the red zone? Like he looked like the ground and pound guy for sure. So inside 5, watch out.
It was weird. The carries, 10 carries for Zeke for 40 yards and a tutty, and 2 receptions for 9 yards, and then Dowdle 8 carries for 26 with 1 reception. So pretty 50-50 split, isn't it?
I can see it happening. I just think that I reckon goal line more so would definitely be used for Zeke because that's just his body shape, isn't it? He just gets it done.
CD Lamb's the one for me. I reckon you're not going to get any juicier.
Music to my ears,
100 plus for me.
Can't believe he still slipped to 5 in our draft pick, but anyway.
He'll be the one that gets targeted. It's at home.
He has to.
Their record at home speaks for itself. I think it's as good as it. I think they only lost 1 game the last year and a bit.
They lost 1 game last year and it happened to be the
first final
playoff game, so a bit stiff. But yes, they are very, very strong at home, tough to beat.
And Olave, listeners, you'd be very flat, but you would think this week he'll get going. Wow, it's a game for him.
Well, he has to. But gee, they're strong on defense. Like I did not think that
the Saints
would.
Or the Cowboys?
Like the Cowboys. Like, he could be in for another tough day. Like Diggs.
You forget Diggs is back,
mate. He's so good.
I'm a bit worried. You know what? The Philly v Dallas is a bit tougher than I thought. I thought Philly would have jumped them, but it's Philly's.
They keep it going, the Cowboys, and that division is, again, back to what it should be. Yeah.
I've got nothing for you on that. I'm going to go the Cowboys and CD Lamb. It's going to be a CD Lamb show, and I think they'll be going through the air. I don't rate the Saints that highly, and I think they just had a week one blowout against a really poor opponent. I think the worst team, potentially the second worst team in the league.
They may not win a game this year. I'm going to call it.
It's a big call.
I reckon they don't win a game.
I think they play the Giants in London. Did I read? I think earlier.
I still don't think they win a game.
I like it. Oh, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. They were that bad last week. Watching Bryce Young was horrific.
Talk about puge.
Yeah, that is puge. Bucks taking on the Lions. This one's in Detroit. I love a dome game, and I love the fact that the Bucks are good against the run because it means Goff will sit back and throw it to your man Amon-Ra. I think
and your man. You like your man
Jameson
too.
Williams.
Yep.
I think this is set up for a huge passing yards for Goff and maybe Baker because he's been solid. He was 289 yards and 4 tutties last week, and he said, if you give me one-on-one with Mikey Evans, I'm going to take it, and good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
What's your tip?
Detroit at home, mate. Tampa were good last week. I don't know about Washington defense really too much, but they played well. Detroit had a really tough matchup against the Rams, and I think the Rams will be pretty solid. But Detroit will get it going, and again, they're kind of making their home field a bit of a fortress right now, and I expect them to get it done. And Amon St. Brown is just going to put on a show. I reckon he had a tough week last week, and if Detroit winning without him going off is pretty dangerous.
Does this turn into a Godwin game? You think about the slot. Cooper Kupp was everywhere. You think Mikey Evans on the outside, but I reckon Godwin will be getting fed targets.
Yeah, and he did last week. I still think he had 8 targets, touchdowns, 60-odd, 70-odd yards. Like, he still had a very good game, and he's the guy that just kind of route running's exceptional, underrated wide receiver, has been good for a long time, and I expect him to be able to kind of do his thing.
And Amon-Ra was just down on targets. I think he had 6 targets or something.
And I think the coverage obviously was pretty good. The Rams clearly thought that he's the weapon, which he is, and they wanted to do something about it, and they did a very good job, but they were still too good in the end.
Well said, mate. We're on the same page so far. Colts taking on the Packers. This one's at Lambeau Field. The Packers will not have Love at quarterback. Is it Willis that'll be there? And I don't know a lot about him, but I'm concerned for them. I think the Colts are going to run the ball and they're going to run it hard. And if you look at what they did last week with Saquon Barkley after he found his footing, because it was slippery over there in Brazil.
Yep.
But with Jonathan Taylor in that O-line, it's all about Jonathan Taylor for me. Yep. And I think Pittman's got another bad matchup, so I don't think I'm going to go near him. I think I'm going to stay away from him.
Yeah, Alexander is a star.
He's a star.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Mitchell, remember I said Mitchell had a few out the back?
Yep.
You think with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they look pretty good when they got out the back. And A.J. Brown, I could probably tuck that one away because I reckon a lot of the cornerbacks were struggling to grip on the grass, which sounds a bit silly, but once A.J. Brown did twist him.
They were slipping everywhere.
Everywhere. So I'm concerned about Pittman this week, but anyone else looks good.
Yep.
But it's all about Jonathan Taylor and the Colts. And I know
is.
it's on the road and it's tough to win there.
It is, but I think I'm on the same page as you. I think the Colts get it done. Love to Willis. Tough. And I think the Colts get in there and do it. And they had a really good game against the Texans last week. They were very competitive, 2-point ball game. Like they were strong. So if they want to keep that form going and no, keep in touch with obviously the division. I know it's early, but keep in touch with the division stuff. Then they need to get that done. So I am on the Colts train for this week.
Yeah, I love it. This game really excites me. Jets at the Titans. Nissan Stadium in Nashville. I'll start. You know how much I love the Jets. I watched the game and I watched every snap. The only issue they had was they just could not stop the run.
Yeah.
I thought the offense from the Jets looked good after about, 2 drives. They just, Lazard dropped a sitter.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're running the ball early downs, but then that third down, they're giving Aaron one and done, really. And then he started to get some flow, but the game got away from him.
Yeah, it did.
The San Fran chewed the clock. They just chewed the clock. They never gave Aaron a chance with the 2-minute drill at the end.
Did you see what the time possession was? Ridiculous.
It was like 3 times, wasn't it?
It was 40 minutes to 20.
It was crazy.
It was crazy
and
numbers.
people were overreacting. And the Jets defense, it is really good if they just stop the run.
Yeah.
And I don't reckon Pollard and that are running than Spears. They're not running through this Jets defense.
That's not their type of running. They're not the big guys to be able to kind of really go and do it. Yeah.
Sauce Gardner was on the bench for a bit. I don't know if you heard his shoulder, but I would expect they're going to get a rocket and they're going to start well. And from what I watched last week, Levis was horrific.
Yeah.
His confidence will be low. I don't care what sport you play.
The Jets defense could eat.
Yes.
And
Aaron Rodgers will get the ball and play conservative, and it's all about Breece Hall. So this week, I'm excited. I think it's probably the lock of the year, really. I think that, they really are going to smack them on D. I don't think Will Levis will score 14 points.
I've never seen Tommy so intense of talking about one team. It's absolutely incredible. And this is 2 weeks in a row now.
Last week was 50. This week against Titans, this defense and offense, I honestly can see them putting up 30, 40
defense
points.
last week put up 24 points. Their defense, that's what they scored in total against the old Titans.
Yeah.
So I am fully expecting the same thing, that the Jets are going to go out there and they will torment Will Levis, and they have the offensive power to be able to make it even worse for him. So I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I just love your intensity when it comes to the Jets.
It's the run game, though. I'm so excited for Breece Hall in this game.
It'll be interesting, though, because the way that Tony Pollard and that runs as well, it is similar to how San Francisco run the footy as well. Like, jet motions and things like that they do and get outside of the pocket is going to be interesting. But I think that, again, San Francisco. I don't think, Tennessee are the same. And I think the Jets defense are going to be up for a big day.
Yeah, and if the Jets defense are up, then Breece Hall's getting the ball, and they'll just
in good positions as well, for sure.
Well, I think the Titans defense is all right, by the way.
I don't think that they're terrible. No doubt. Again, it's a bit of a grey area again, because you played against a guy that's in his first game and it was a bit rough around the edges. So how do you exactly know? But I just think that, like, when you got Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, it's a little bit different.
Garrett Wilson doesn't get a great matchup this week. Just be careful. Sneed's there now.
So?
Well, he's there now, and
he does have Sneed. That's very true.
And that's not a good matchup. So if you're thinking he's going to eat, it's not going to go. In my mind, it could go to him, but I've got all my eyes on Breece Hall.
Well, no doubt. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that he gets off the chain and he's going for 100 and things like that, but he's there.
Yeah,
he's there. So they always have to keep an eye on him, and that's how it's going to work for them. But no, I expect the Jets to be able to get through this one relatively easily.
49ers taking on the Vikings on the road.
Don't have to spend too much on this, I reckon.
No, we don't. Let's be honest. I had a little exchange with a few mates.
After the way San Francisco played last week. So
Brock Purdy, a star? What do you think? I said he's consistently good. I don't know if he's a star yet.
But he's very good. Great players around him, and he's very, very smart. Shanahan loves that. Kyle Shanahan loves that, and it works for them. So,
is he a star?
I don't know if he's a star, though.
That's what I said. I said put him in another offense and let's see if he can do.
I don't know if he's a star. Like, you put him with maybe Jacksonville. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
he's just in a good spot right now.
He's stiff though, isn't he? The fact that we can't call him a star, he is very good.
I know.
This week, you would expect Vikings, if I'm thinking about them traditionally, you got to think that potentially Ayuk might get going this week.
Yeah, I think so. I think they have to. I think he has to get the ball, and they'll start to share it around a little bit. But yeah, I think they're all right.
Down memory lane, last year I was in New York watching this game live, and I actually sat next to a Vikings fan, and they won that game.
Did they?
Primetime Kirk beat San Fran last year.
Did they really?
Yes, and I only remember it because I was at the bar and my multi went down and I had the VPN up and I went, oh my God, I cannot believe I've lost a bet.
Vikings are a little different now. I don't know if Darnold can get the same there.
But I reckon San Fran will remember that and they're going to go, remember what happened last time we played these guys?
Yeah, don't underestimate. Let's get it done. They've still got a couple of weapons there, but yeah, I think San Fran should be pretty good.
Does Justin Jefferson get going? I mean, let's talk about him quickly. He was touchdown 50 yards first half, then didn't have to do anything because the Giants were so bad. But
they need him to. They've got no choice. He's got no choice.
San Fran is a bit 50-50 in the secondary.
But when your linebackers and your D-line is that strong, that rush the quarterback, then you're obviously going to have to come up with plays to get the ball off pretty quickly. Jefferson's pretty good at that, so yeah, who knows?
Mason, 28 carries, 147 yards rushing and one touchdown. I mean, he could do that again, couldn't he?
Yeah. Had a field day.
Scary. Yeah. Let's keep moving. Seahawks taking on the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. That one is at the Patriots, and I still can't believe they beat the Bengals. I still can't believe it. I've got a stat. I think Joe Burrow's 0-5 against Baker Mayfield and Brissett, but he's was he 5-1 against Mahomes and Josh Allen. So crazy stat there from Smoke and Joe. But Seahawks, I'm on the Seahawks. Were they great last week? No, but they were pretty good. And their defense gave Bo Nix a little bit of a nightmare. But he is a rookie quarterback, so I don't really count that. This week, if the Seahawks can get on top early, like Patriots, they couldn't get anything going on offense. They were really good on defense. But all they were good for was just chewing clock.
I think my Smokey might be this week, man. I think I might go the Patriots.
Are you serious? Against the Seahawks?
Yeah. They weren't that great against Denver, mate.
Denver's got an amazing D.
2 safeties. Gino, pick. Got over the line because Bo threw picks.
Yeah, I know, but I reckon
that's my little smoky. I'm going with the Patriots at home.
The
Patriot home might be a little smoky.
Seahawks, no way.
Well, hey, we had last week. They were 450 against the Bengals. I know.
Week 1, I told you.
I can't rule them out again. It might be my little smoky.
You know who's going to go well in this game? DK Metcalf.
Yeah. He's a weapon.
He had Patrick Surtain. I told you, anyone that goes to Patrick Surtain, just take the unders. This week, get on DK.
Get on DK.
They've got no answers for him.
Yeah. And I expect Seattle to win, but I'm going to say, this is my little smoky bet. I think, the Patriots could.
And how are they going to beat them then?
The Patriots could do it. Their defense and putting them in good positions and their offensively and see how it goes, mate. Watch out.
So ugly to watch the Patriots.
You said the same thing last week against the Bengals. How do you beat them? Well, they did.
I tell you what, they beat him because they got popcorn on their hands. And you get the ball on the 1 yard line, just go down. I mean, they turned the ball over twice on the 1.
Yeah, they did.
And then they ran out of clock. Smoke and Joe was horrific. Jamar Chase, get back to training, sign your contract and move on. Higgins, hope your hammy's all right as well. Let's move on. I'm going Seahawks in that one. And you know what? You're not far off. The bookies have got them at $2.50. I can't believe Seattle is $1.50, maybe because they're on the road.
Mate, that's the only way I can see it is that. And the Patriots, it's a tough place to play. Their tails will be up after that win. The fans will come. It's a tough place to play. So no shoe-in. That's all I will say. I don't think it's a shoe-in.
This is the Vomit Cup. Giants taking on the Commanders. It's a horrific
Pucci Cup. The
Pucci Cup. Giants at Commanders.
Let's just move on. Washington at home. We don't need to talk about anything else.
What we'll talk about is their rookie quarterback, though. We will talk about their rookie quarterback.
Yeah, Daniels was pretty good.
He's been the most impressive so far.
Yeah, he struggled throwing. Scary Terry hardly touched it. But he obviously used his legs very, very well. But Dan Quinn's come out and said that, hey, we don't want him to be doing that. We've got 2 guys to be able to get that done.
Nice.
Want you to be able to throw a little more, and that's how our offense wants to operate. So we'll see how that goes. But no better week than this week to be able to make it happen against the Giants, who stink.
They do stink. Last week, Aaron Jones was pretty impressive. 94 yards rushing and a touchdown from the Vikings, who played the Giants.
Yep.
Brian Robinson looks pretty good in this game.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Brian Robinson there. I think he might be my little one that I'll talk about a little bit later on. But, obviously he's rotating with Austin Eckler, but he seems to be the number 1 guy right now, and I expect him to have a pretty solid day.
Austin Eckler had 4 catches for 52 receiving yards, where he only had the 2 carries. So it's clearly, like we said earlier in our previous podcast, that Brian Robinson will be the one that's ground and pound first and second down, and then your third down back will be Eckler because he can do both.
He can do both, that's right. I think he was out there obviously a little bit more, but that's when Daniels kind of used his legs as well. So there probably was opportunity for for that to happen. So we'll see how that pans out this week and whether or not he gets a few more opportunities. But certainly that's the way it looks right now.
And if you look at the Giants on offense, I'm looking at last week's stats, very ugly. Obviously, Jones, 186 passing yards. Malik Neighbours was positive, though. He had 66 receiving yards. He had 7 targets, but they got smashed. And the fact that he still had a pretty good day, that's positive for fantasy owners.
It is. Definitely positive. He's clearly his number one option and trying to get the ball to him, and there you go.
That's why they retired the number for the great man.
You've got to feed him.
Let's move on. That game's putsch. I'm going Commanders. You?
I am too.
And I reckon Brian Robinson will get a tutty in that one. I'm looking forward to watching that. And remember, division games, they're always a bit... They're a bit tougher and they're a bit lower scoring, aren't they?
They are. Yeah.
We'll keep our eye on that. Chargers, Panthers. Ooh, maybe it is the lock of the week. We'll find out later. Chargers. Let's talk about one man from the Chargers and one man only at the moment, and it is the big man, Joe Alt. What a machine.
What a machine. How about that? 19 snaps up against Max Crosby and not one pressure act from Max Crosby. That guy is a monster. Like, he is a beast. We've spoken about this before already. We thought he was in for a big year. You've got him as your defensive player of the year, and he couldn't get near.
It hurt.
Near Herbert because of Joe Alton. He's first-year player, number 6 pick or something like that in last year's draft or this year's draft, and he just put him to bed. Good on him. That's unbelievable because Max Crosby is a scary unit, and it's very rare for that to happen. So credit to him. Well done.
Control, Alt, Delete, they reckon.
Oh,
Control, Alt, Delete. Just, you cannot
Well, he's going to have a field day this week. He's not going to have to worry about a damn thing, so he's all good.
Just a quick one back to the Giants, because we know you love the Giants. I've just got some stats I forgot to read out, but Daniel Jones signing his 4-year, $160 million contract has thrown 2 passing touchdowns. He's had 8 interceptions and 3 pick sixes. He's thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns. So if you've got Giants...
to the opposition more.
So if you're putting on bets... Don't put bets on for receiving touchdowns. The only one you're going to get is a rushing, and it's probably going to be this man or one of the running backs if they're lucky. But it is the worst stats you'll see outside of Deshaun Watson, which we'll talk about later.
Gosh.
$160 million. Like, what is doing?
I don't know.
We shouldn't skip over that because it's not good for the league to be paying that much money for 4 years and you're getting that offense.
He's put together like 8 good games a few years ago, and then they've gone, okay, well, let's see how it goes. But... yeah, they're licking their wounds on that one, the old Giants. It's a real shame.
Are they ever?
Actually, it's not a shame. It's not a shame. It's not.
I tell you what's a shame. The Panthers taking Bryce Young, pick 1. Mate, he is the definition of what you do not want at quarterback. He's too small. He can't throw. He throws wobblers. And his first throw last week was a pick. I'm being a bit negative. I actually had high hopes for him this year.
It's a shame.
It's been 1 week. I'm not going to go early, but this Chargers defense... And the way this game's going to go, I would think that they're going to get the ball back and they're going to run the ball. And Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, I mean, I hate when there's 50-50 splits, but if you watch the both of them,
they could. They both could have fun this week.
I think they will.
Carolina also lost their best defensive player in Derek Brown. Derek Brown was a number 7 pick a few years ago, and he's out with a knee injury. So he's the big boy in the middle that try and stops their run and has done a pretty good job over the last few years, and now he's out for a while. So... fantasy owners, I would heavily consider putting Edwards or Dobbins in to be able to run that ball all day because I don't think they have any options to be able to stop him.
I've got Gus Edwards on one of my teams, and I don't know if it's him or Dobbins. I do like Dobbins more. But
I think they're both going to have their fair share, I think, because, again, now they've lost their best player on defense, and it's going to be a tough ask for them again.
I love their coach, actually. I think he said, even when they drafted, he's like, we think... offensive linemen we think they're weapons as well with Joe Alt when they're like, why didn't you pick someone else? Yeah. And it's honestly, I like the way he's building the Great Wall of China. You're not going to get past it.
You need a good O-line, mate.
And they'll get a receiver soon. And when they get that receiver, they are away.
Yeah, you need to build a good O-line. I mean, you need to help your quarterback out as best as you possibly can to give him a chance to be able to get rid of the ball. And if you don't have that, well, then you have the Carolina Panthers. I've got nothing for Panthers fans in this. But if Bryce Young throws 200 this week, I'll throw up because I thought he would do it last week against the Saints and he was horrific.
What did he go? 161 yards, 2 interceptions and first play interception, which meant the game script was gone. Browns taking on the Jags. The Jags were very impressive for 3 quarters and then they shit the bed and it all come after an ETN fumble. Tyreek Hill went for an 80-yard TD or whatever it was, and I just felt bad for ETN because he continually fumbles, but he is very good at running back and he was stiff. The guy threw the biggest haymaker punch. I don't know if you've seen the replay, but the guy could not have smoked the football any harder.
Didn't he?
Hit it clean. And ETN, you see him on the bench, he's rattled like we've all been there. It's like when you've just, Sue Riola's running behind you and you're just giving up the prelim. We've all been there on the bench when we know we've made a mistake. But ETN's watching Tyreek Hill just go zip down the other end. And, mate, I felt that bad for him. And all of a sudden, Miami got into work.
Yeah.
Miami were pretty poor. That's why I think this week they should start well.
What a swing. Massive swing in the game.
It was like the Chicago Bears. Just
massive swing in the game. Like they're about to score.
It's pretty much game over.
Go up 21-0.
Yep.
Basically,
game over.
Feeling pretty good about yourself, game over. And then that happens and it's like, hey, I mean, 14. It's a 14-point swing. They went down and scored the next play. It's a 14-point swing.
Division futures as well.
I mean, I think this is going to be closer. I wouldn't have said that before last week because I was pretty confident that Cleveland were going to get it done.
What do you think is going to happen at running back? Because you know what happens when they fumble too much? The coach can get mad.
Oh, they will. And Tank
Bigsby
had 12 carries for 73 yards. Like they're rotating a little bit too. So I'll be interested to see. ETN will start, but if he keeps it up, it's going to be a tough ask. And Tank might see himself as the RB1.
He looked good, ETN.
He's strong. Very, very strong. Former Auburn alumni.
That's Bigsby?
Yep.
They both had 12 carries. And your man Bigsby, he went for 73 and ETN just to 44.
Yeah.
So it's scary work.
Yeah. And now, granted, you obviously, offenses put in the work and watch probably a lot more tape when it comes to ETN. So they're going to plan for him a lot better than what they did with Bigsby. I think they would have been quite surprised, Miami, how much Bigsby got the ball. You haven't got as many weapons and plays and schemes to be able to kind of come up with to be able to kind of stop him. But in saying that, I still think ETN will be the guy to continue on this week. And, obviously he'll be probably practicing all week, holding on to that ball and see how he goes.
He will. I'm very happy with Ford, the running back from the Browns. It's all eyes on him. I think Njoku is going to be ruled out.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson.
Njoku's already ruled out.
He's ruled out.
He's out.
I made that mistake last week about Pitts, and he scored a touchdown. I said he was out. He was questionable. He's probably going to be out. And then what happens? Big Pitts, he scores a tutty.
Njoku is out. I know that. He's done. The ankle's got him too bad. Yep.
For some reason, think that the Browns can turn it around from their defense and they can get going. One thing we must mention is that Miami did throw the ball a lot on the Jags secondary, and they went for 300-plus air yards, and they got it going. So do you think they can get Judy going? Do you think they can get Elijah Moore going and Amari Cooper? They have to get something going. And Deshaun Watson, he can't be that bad, can he?
No, I don't think so. I think the Cowboys were pretty good, but he can't be that bad. Surely
Cooper had 9 targets for 2 catches last week, so the target share's there. So if you're worried about Cooper, don't be too worried. The targets are there. That's positive. Outside of that,
Deshaun threw the ball very poorly.
Very poorly. Judy had 8 targets as well. They're the 2. I do like Elijah Moore, but again, 6 targets and only 9 yards and 3 catches. It was just a bad week.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, who are you tipping in this one? We've kind of. I don't know what to do here.
Probably Jacksonville, just because they're at home.
I'm going to go with the Browns just because of their defense. Yeah. I trust their defense more, and I reckon Trevor, if he's playing from behind, can do some silly things. But that one's a 50-50. I wouldn't be taking
50,
that.
50, yeah.
We'll keep moving through, and it's the last game of the 3 a.m. games if it's Australian Eastern Standard Time. Raiders taking on my boys, the Ravens. For me, this is very easy. You can run the ball against the Raiders. That's what the Chargers did last week. And one man deserves the rock, and he only got it a little bit last week. It's all about Derrick Henry. I don't care what you say. Derrick Henry is going to be getting fed. He looks fresh, and he looks angry, and the Ravens need to start better. I also think Andrews will be involved in the passing game. He was very low-key last week, but that's okay. That's what happens in week 1, the unpredictability. So Andrews for passing yards and Derrick Henry to probably have 100 rushing yards and a touchdown. I expect them to get the job done. Sip.
Well said. I don't think I need to actually say anything else. You did it pretty well just there, mate. So Baltimore at home is pretty good, I think.
You kick us off here. We've got the 6 a.m. games. This is the
6 a.m. game.
The next slot. We've got 3 games here, the Rams and the Cardinals. This one will be at the Cardinals in Arizona. What do you think?
I'm thinking the Rams should be able to do this. They were pretty competitive last week against the Lions. Obviously went into overtime and the old flip of a coin got them in the end there. So I think the Rams would be too good. Stafford had a pretty solid game. Cooper Kupp is an absolute machine. Obviously,
we did say that last week.
I know, and obviously Puka being out now probably emphasises that even more. But they just have unbelievable chemistry, and I expect that to continue. I don't think that the Cardinals really have. Obviously, look, division game, so again, naturally they are a bit tighter, but I just don't think they have any answers. I think they're going to be able to do whatever they want, and Kyron Williams is an absolute monster. We saw the stats like 71% or something like that, or carries, or what was it, 71 snaps on the field or something like that for their offense.
RB
and the
snaps
next best
from the
was
Rams.
7.
Yeah, so Rams RB snaps last week. Kyron Williams 71, Ronnie Rivers 7, Blake Corum 0.
They are feeding him. So the Rams for me.
And just on that,
even though the Cardinals are favourites,
which is weird.
Yeah.
I think there's a few big injuries from the Rams.
Yeah, I think Puka probably does that a little bit.
They lost someone else on the defensive line, I can't remember who it was. They've lost a couple.
I still think the Rams get this done.
I trust Stafford more, to be honest.
Yeah.
I won't be going head to head though. What I will be doing is I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will be getting a lot more work. And Cooper Kupp, he had 21 targets last week. Guess who that was in the league, right?
The next best was what, 12?
12, which is random. It's Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants, and then Tyreek Hill, then Cortland Sutton, and then 11 was Keenan Allen. So Cooper Kupp almost had double the most targets in the league last week. He's probably going to have more this week.
He's going to be right up there.
Keep your eyes on the gingerbread man. Kyler Murray, he was running the ball. He only runs it a little bit. When he runs quick and he runs fast and he runs far. And his average is about 38 yards every week. He had 50-something last week. I reckon he'll run again. But it's all about Cooper Kupp in the air and Kyron Williams touchdown for me in that one. And just keep your eyes on Marvin.
Yep.
Let's keep moving. Steelers at Broncos. Talk about the Puch Cup. This is offensively probably the worst game of the week. If you've got anyone playing in this, just take them out. Patrick Surtain will go to Pickens, I would imagine. Justin Fields, if he starts, would have to use his legs. This is a horrific game. Bo Nix will come up against a Tomlin coach. You'd imagine he's going to make it a nightmare.
Oh, my gosh. If Pittsburgh, after what they did to Atlanta last week, it's going to be tenfold. It's going to be absolute tenfold against the old.
Take Bo Nix for another interception.
Seriously, take him for 2. Take him for 2, mate, because I reckon he's going to have another couple because TJ Watt is going to terrorise him. That's all that needs to be said.
Anything else?
No, honestly, I don't think so. I just think that Pittsburgh will go in there, get it done. Denver's still going to struggle offensively, and we move on.
Like it. I'm not going to say anything else. Bengals at the Chiefs. Here we go. One of the biggest games of the round. Can Joe Burrow do what he normally does against Patrick Mahomes and win? Believe it or not, he's got a good record against the GOAT. Obviously Brady's the GOAT, but Mahomes is the best quarterback I've seen, and he is special. So the Chiefs, geez, they were good last week. Rashee Rice is clearly the one. And then you've got weapons everywhere now. This is probably their best offense they've had in a while.
Probably in a couple of years for sure.
Remember that
Worthy's obviously was pretty handy. He's pretty good.
And did Sip say that to you guys? Who was the guy that slid in the DMs and had a go at you about that?
We won't say. But
we had a man reach out and he said, Sip is kidding himself. Well, mate, we need an apology, a formal apology, because Sip gave you that little treat
early. He did say he had to eat his own words, so thank you for your honesty. Well done. But Worthy is obviously very, very dangerous, and if Hollywood Brown comes back in and gets going, then yes, they've got some serious firepower, and they do have the best quarterback in the game throwing to him. But I just think Cincinnati are going to have a tough time. I think it will be closer. They naturally do play well. Over the last few years, they have played well. It's been such tight matchups over the last 3 or 4 years, but I think Kansas City stand up again and just get it done.
I'm loving that. I'm just looking at the game total on points, and it is 47.5, so not too high. Jamar Chase, I've got my eyes on him. He's traditionally had a bit of a tough matchup against them, but Snead's not there anymore.
So it's definitely there for him to be able to go out there and perform, but they've got to get something going.
They do.
10 points last week.
They do. I hope Higgins plays, but if he doesn't,
Higgins
it's a real
is still
issue.
Very, very much questionable.
I'm really liking Kelsey for a touchdown for some reason. I feel like he's just going to be a red zone threat, and this week he might snag one.
Well, he was pretty quiet last week, so I think he probably
they'll draw something up.
Yeah, I think so.
And Jamar Chase, I think he can go off for yards. I don't think they'll win though. But as we said, I'm going to stay away from the head-to-head just because of the information we have coming across our desk. Joe Burrow loves Patrick Mahomes for some reason, and they might find a gear after last week. 2 games to go. It's primetime football Sunday night, which is Monday morning at 10:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's the Bears taking on the Texans. We've got the number 1 pick from last year's draft taking on CJ Stroud, the number 2 pick from the year before, who probably should have been the 1. But the Texans are flying, and if you want a little recap from last week, it was Tank Dell and Collins getting all the yards, but Diggs getting all the touchdowns, and your man, Joe Mixon, just eating up the ground. Oh, wow, 150-plus rushing yards. The Bears were putrid on offense last week, but their special teams and defense was great. Sip, what's going to happen?
I'm going to say that Chicago's defense probably isn't going to be quite as good this week. They're going to need to be pretty switched on that. Houston looked good. So going on the road against the Colts is tough, and they stood up, got the job done. We saw all their weapons, and it was exciting to see. We've been speaking about it a little bit, and we didn't know how it's going to work, and it worked perfectly. That's fine. If Diggs has 2 touchdowns for 40 yards, you're taking it. If you're having Mixon doing what he does, watch out. They've got some serious firepower, and it's exciting to see. And I just think that they'll be able to get it done. First game at home for the year, and on primetime for them on your Monday morning here. So Texans for me to be able to go in there and cause a bit of havoc and still have Caleb Williams have a bit of a tough time.
I agree. I think it'll be hard to stop CJ Stroud. I know their defense is good, but I just want to see some more offense from our number 1 pick.
Yeah, we do.
He was a bit rusty
He's got the guys, but he was
very average last week.
Yeah, didn't get it going. So, and I don't know if that's just like a 1-week fix. It's hard to be able to go from there and then just be able to turn it around that quickly. And Houston's defense will be good.
This will be indoors because it's in Houston, so it's going to make his life a little bit easier because I feel like Nashville's always a bit of, I don't know what the weather was last week. I watched it. Was it windy? Probably.
Beautiful.
It did look good.
It looked
probably
beautiful.
Finding excuses for the great man. I think that the Titans' defense is all right. I do think they're okay. So I wonder if the Texans' defense will allow a little bit, just a little bit more space for Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. But I just cannot see the Bears scoring 30 points, which I think the Texans can score every week.
Yeah, I think so too. I just can't see it happen. I know Chicago have got the offensive weapons. Their quarterback is just going to take time. And Houston's defense is still going to be really, really good. They had a dynamic quarterback that they had last week that's powerful, can run the game. I don't know if Williams is obviously that strong compared to what Richardson is, and I just think that Houston are just going to be too good in the end, mate.
I was just thinking about Caleb Williams. Geez, they put him under the pump. Prime time second week. The hype's like Michael Jordan.
The hype's real.
What about the Michael Jordan music? Did you hear that? Like the Bulls music on the Hard Knocks. It's just
they did it all. Yeah,
they did it all.
Yeah.
And so the pressure is immense.
It's massive.
It's crazy. So I think
we've been talking about this guy for 2 years. Like as soon as he moved over to USC and that, and they've been talking about him for a couple of years now, and of course the hype was going to be real, and then they brought in the other guys, and it's like, okay, so it's like, of course it's going to be there, and it's probably still just going to take a little bit of time. They've got the weapons there to be able to do it. It's just building up the chemistry, but Houston have already got that chemistry, I think, and they're going to be too good.
Right, enough there. Everyone in the world should be going for the Texans here. We love primetime footy.
Finish it off.
Righto, we always like to shine a little light on our primetime games, and this is your boys. You kick us off. You're the man. Bijan Robinson's playing.
We have the Philadelphia Eagles against the Atlanta Falcons there, your primetime Tuesday morning game here. Weren't talking about a little bit of Puge. Atlanta Falcons, Puge.
Kirk Cousins in the pocket.
Dang. Drake London.
Kirk wasn't getting.
Yuck.
I think I read a stat. His best plays are off play action. He wasn't getting out of the pocket.
Nah.
And you wonder about his Achilles.
Yeah. So don't know. But Philly started a bit slow last week, got themselves going, showed their firepower. They're back home. Fans are nuts. Monday night game there. The place will be pumping, and I expect them to get it done actually relatively easily. So line, I reckon, is about 3 points, I think. But
I'll get that up while you keep talking.
I think it could be a little more than that, to be honest. I think there's just too many weapons, and Atlanta's gone out there and tried to get obviously firepower both sides of the ball. You expect an improvement, but just tough. really, really tough to go into that building and get the job done. Kirk did it last year relatively well with Minnesota, so maybe that's something you can look at. He had over 300 yards last year and had a pretty good game, but I just think that the Eagles are going to be too good, mate.
They looked good. And
they looked really strong. They started off very rusty early, but their defense held up amazingly well when they needed to. Couple of big plays that they probably would have liked to get back from Reed and that, but overall, yeah, they're geared up.
Bijan Robinson would have to get going early to give them just a sniff, but
they kind of stuffed him in the run game though, didn't they? Like Jacobs got going a little bit later, but earlier on they had nothing.
Well, Philly started poor.
Yeah,
Jalen threw the pick. Saquon slipped over on a second down, put him back near the goal line. They were under the pump early, and then I thought, oh gee whiz, Philly. They did leak a lot of points.
Yeah, they did.
And they did that last year.
Yeah.
But then they clicked and they got going.
Yeah.
And they really did get going. And I thought they were impressive in their second half. And you know what it's like. They just started to get their mojo back.
100%.
AJ Brown gets separation on a really good corner in Alexander. So that'll be too much to stop. It's just too much there. And Kirk was concerning. He looked skinny. He was getting beaten. I know TJ Watt's one of the best and probably might win it, but Defensive Player of the Year, that is. But I do get a bit concerned about him. If he can't get out of that pocket and run and play action down the field, a lot of those weapons like London and everyone's taken, they're not going to get the ball against these good teams.
Yeah, I'll be interested with Atlanta's O-line as well. Like, they've tried to invest into it over the last kind of few years, but I don't know how it's going to go.
Righto, mate. We like to give everyone a little bit of juice on the primetime games. What are we going to settle with for the Miami and the Bills game? So
Bills game.
Yeah, what are we creating? Are we both agreeing with Dolphins?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins,
I do. I like the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I like them in the division.
I like the Dolphins. Yep.
What about yards, receptions, props? Who's the player that you think?
Waddle.
How many yards?
65 plus.
65 plus.
Yeah.
What about, do you like Kincaid for me?
I do like Kincaid for you. I can understand exactly why
40?
you're trying to do that. 40 sounds good to me.
Yeah. And is there a touchdown score or do we stay away from that? I think we have a touchdown score in this game.
We've got to have a touchdown score, don't we?
Well, I think Waddle gets the touchdown if he's at the back.
Yeah.
So we're going to go Waddle.
Let's go Waddle with any time touchdown.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll cook that up.
Love
and then
that.
this game here, Philly. I watched a lot of this last week. It was frustrating. There was no TD scored except for Pitts. And they lost.
Yes.
So Pittsburgh scored all their points on special teams.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think. So
That's right.
what happens here with the Eagles?
Well, I mean, Hurts has got a lot of weapons, doesn't he?
Where do you look?
And what did he have? 278 last week? 278 passing yards he had last week. So I think 225 plus passing yards.
Yep.
Pretty juicy.
And does your man, he owes us a bit of money, Devontae Smith. I don't want to get emotional on this show. It's all about stats. But you do think he's the guy this week? Or do you think
he has to score?
Or is it Saquon?
Nah.
Devontae?
Well, I mean, they're both probably going to score.
Yeah.
I mean, Saquon's an easy one, but surely Devontae gets one.
I think Devontae does as well.
Has to get one,
he looked really good.
He played, he had a great game. 7 from 8, 85 yards. Like, had himself in areas that he could extra 10, 15 yards and he's home. So I still think he can get it done. Anytime touchdown, Devontae Smith.
Like it. And then I think we just go to the other team and I reckon it's Bijan Robinson receiving yards. If they're going to be if they're under the pump.
Receiving yards, you think?
I think third down back.
You're probably right.
He had about 50-something last week.
Yeah.
He looks
40 plus?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I think his line will be around 30. We'll have a look at it. It's not. I don't think the markets are up yet, but I lie. They are up. So the line for him on receiving yards is 27.5. Do we tease it up a little bit? So let's take this. Are we going to go Philly result or take result out of it because they're short? We got done. By the way, we got done on result last week.
We did.
3 times. That was our last leg with the line and all whatnot. Let's go.
Not the line. We're going head to head.
Okay, Philly to win.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith, touchdown.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson over 27.5.
Receiving
yards.
35 plus at 245.
Okay, we'll take that. Before we close out, we have our tipping competition, and we always want to shout out the leaders. There's a few leaders, as you'd imagine. I think there's 8 on top. So let me read these names out really quickly. Adam Mangia, Bolton Home, Tate Forster, Suit Daddy, Jason Mangia, Dunk123, ESPN fan 467, and Donald Duck. I'm not going to read out your number. Change your name, ESPN fan. But they're our top tippers at the moment, so make sure you get on there. Don't forget to tip this week. Do it now before you forget. 15 last week. How many did you tip?
I had 13.
Okay, I won't tell you what I had. I went a bit silly.
Did ya?
Oh,
You got to tell us.
10.
Oh,
I went Jets.
geez.
I went all the roughies. I tried to get a jump on everyone.
So my lovely wife jumped on. She's part of it.
And what'd she get?
14.
She's just going to be right up there. I went too risky. I took the Jets. I took the Ravens. I took all these.
She's a sneaky one too. Like she always asks for the help, and then I reckon she changed a couple at the last second and got it done. So
Survivor Series, guys, remind yourself, get in there. And if you're alive, continue. If you're not, like me, it's all over. Week one. Got to wait another 300 and something days. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We have our best bets coming up after this, where we're going to give you our 3, our head-to-head, our anytime, and our best prop. We went 4 from 6 last week. Tune in. Thank you so much for all your support. Send this podcast to all your NFL friends, and let's win and lose together. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.